Welcome to the Wise Doula Podcast, a place for informative, uplifting, and educational conversations. Here we will discuss everything connected to the parenting journey, from conception and birth to postpartum and beyond. You are amongst friends here. This is a place to share our common wisdom and learn together. So go ahead, grab your favorite drink. Remember, not caffeinated if you are expecting, and join me inside. I can't wait to speak with you. Well, hello, dear Wise Doula listeners. What a treat I have for you today. Today, we're going to be talking about emotions, self-care, and relaxation. And I have a guest that knows a lot about all of those. So my guest today is ASMR Jeremiah. He is a content creator and he has a YouTube channel where he does ASMR. We've talked about ASMR in the previous episode, but I know Jeremiah will bring us up to speed as well. So let me tell you a bit about Jeremiah. He started his channel in 2020, which I'm very impressed about. What a year that was. And 3 years later, he has 370 videos, which is impressive. Almost 50,000 subscribers. That's amazing. More than 12 characters and a ton of roleplay ASMR under his belt. And he'll tell us more about what roleplay ASMR is as well. I want to tell you also that Jeremiah is not just an ASMR artist. Jeremiah is a husband and a dog lover. He's a dancer.
Yes.
He's a teacher.
Yes.
He's a professional actor.
Yes.
But above all, he's a lover and a person that is passionate about life. So welcome to the show, Jeremiah. I'm so happy you're here.
Well, thank you for that amazing and kind intro, Marta. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, we mentioned that you started the channel in 2020 during the pandemic. I think in a year where a lot of us were, I don't know, cowering in a corner and trying to figure out what was happening with life, where we were going next. I'm really impressed that that year sparked something in you. So I want to hear more about that. What was the initial spark in 2020?
Well, yeah, so kind of I'll give you the I assume we're not really pressed for time, so I'll give you the slightly longer version. So the gist is that I came to LA in 2005 as an actor. I think I joined SAG and AFTRA before the two unions merged. So I joined the union 2012, something like that. But as many people understand, when you're an actor in LA, they ask you what restaurant you work at, which is not untrue. So I was a bartender, but I was not making enough money. Oddly, as a bartender in LA, I was actually losing money, and so I'd started. I got on the old Craigslist and saw an ad for people. Saw this ad said, I think it said, looking for young, hip people to teach chess, and I was like, go on. I like chess. I like working with kids. It could be cool. So I go to the interview. I wore a suit and I look all fancy. My boss was wearing a suit and I was like, okay, I showed up to the party. Got hired and did extremely well. And I still teach chess to this day. What had happened was by 2018, so I'd been teaching chess for I think I started teaching chess in 2007. So after 10, 11 years, I kind of wanted to move on and kind of felt like I plateaued, and I was like, well, I'm going to go do something else. So I started the company with my dad and brother called Lingua Disco, Language Magic. And our goal was to make dual language audiobooks based on classical texts. So you could learn a language by listening to an audiobook. So we had to find texts that were in the public domain. So we did a lot of Poe. I did Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. And during this 2018 to mid 2019, so we start this company, and technically it's still there. And if you want to go listen to me reading audiobooks, it's Corey Fox is my audio name, surname. But anyway, So I was doing that, but it was a lot of work. I was doing most of it. I was the one that was building the books, hiring the voice actors in the German, Spanish, French. And then I was also reading and editing and putting together all the books, compiling, getting the covers put together. So I was doing most of like the front work, and we just weren't making any money. And we were breaking even. And my wife and I, we talked, and we're like, well, I don't know if lingua disco is working, or language magic. I don't know if that's, maybe we need to pivot. And I was thinking the same thing. I'd been away from teaching chess for a year, and now it's like late 2019, and I'd spent a year and a half trying to get this company off the ground, and it just wasn't really working. And so Megan and I were chatting, my wife, by the way, Megan, and we were chatting, and she was like, okay, well, my business, you need some work right now. My business partner, he bought a new house, not a new, but he bought a house in Vegas, and needs touching up, needs like, paint, needs some pipes tightened, and some basic, contractor work. And he says, he'll pay you. And I was like, perfect. So we drove out to Vegas. They did work together on their company, which is doing great. And then I was painting and sanding and pipe tightening and cleaning the house up. And at some point I mentioned the word stipple, because I was stippling the paint to try to get it to blend. The paint had faded because of UV over the years, so even though we got the right paint matched, it was too bright. And I was trying to get it to blend, and I couldn't get it to blend. I ended up having to repaint the entire walls. But I mentioned the word stipple, and he goes, oh, that's an ASMR trigger word. And I'm like, I can make up words too. And he says, ASMR, autonomous sensory meridian response. And he's a very flamboyant gay man. He's hilarious. His name's Ant. And he's actually in one of my videos. If you look on my YouTube, there's a origin stories, like a 3-minute video where you see the house where my ASMR journey began, actually. Anyway, so I mentioned the word stipple. He's like, you would be amazing at ASMR. And I'm like, I had no idea what it was. And he grabs me some headphones. I'd literally never heard of this thing, ASMR. And this is in January of 2020. So like rumors of the pandemic, there's a virus, it's in China, it's whispers. Okay, this is weird. And we go out to visit, and we put on the headphones, puts the earbuds in, and he played me some ASMR Zeitgeist. And I was just like, well, this is cool. What? Okay. Then he played me some ASMR Dennis and some other stuff, and I was like, I could do this. ASMR. And I had one mic. So what you're listening to right now are my Rode NT1s. And I already had one of these mics because I was doing audiobooks. So I needed to get a second one. So I had to buy another mic to get that little trick. And out of the gate, but I had so much to learn. Out of the gate, the things that worked for me was that I had really good audio, because a lot of ASMR artists, content creators kind of start off with, entry-level microphones, maybe not even a Blue Yeti, which is, a Blue Yeti is a great microphone, but many people don't even have that, right? And so I had some basic technical knowledge of sound editing, not film editing. I didn't know hardly anything about film editing. And ironically, which is it's weird because it's such an incredibly useful skill to have as an actor in LA, to be able to just like edit your own demo reel or something. And it was all Greek to me, and it was very scary. So I had to teach myself how to video edit, but because I'd done so much audio editing, they were oddly similar. Like I use this software called Reaper, which is a beautiful audio software, called the DAW, the Digital Audio Workspace. So by using Reaper so much, I had gotten quite used to like multi-track and like the like ripple editing and slide editing, like how to, I'm like, okay, transitions. So I got DaVinci Resolve, and I just kind of started playing with it. And first, I think my first videos, they were all filmed on this webcam. So I wasn't even using like, it was a combination of this webcam or my iPhone. And it just, but it started off with me thinking I was going to do like trigger videos, like Zeitgeist, where you're just doing like cool mushy sounds or like this and that. So if you look at my earlier stuff, um, it's it's I just didn't know where I was going. You know what I mean? And I was just like, well, what am I doing here? And then people's like, well, if you just whisper read a book, you get millions of views. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be able to whisper read books, and that'll be the thing. And I did some whispered readings and a couple of views, and I'm not really into this. And I kept trying and stuff, like random useless facts, and like, yeah, but like I didn't know when I began that role play was a thing. Okay, I've never been into cosplay. It's this. I'm an actor. I mean, I played Cruella de Vil, in Once Upon an Anonymous. It's like I'm not averse to characters or anything, but I just didn't associate that with ASMR. So one day somebody said, and I don't think he makes ASMR anymore. His name was Chris. Really, really amazing dude. Chris was so, he was like my one man cheerleading parade. He was on Twitter, excuse me, just being like, dude, this guy, Jeremiah, everybody go follow Jeremiah. This guy's amazing. And I was like, wow, man, like what an incredible, like he was just so kind. And I think he at one point was like, you should try doctor role play. I bet you'd be really good at it. And I was just like, wait, what? What is doctor role play? What is that? So I watched a couple of videos and I was like, okay, okay. So I made a doctor video, and that did like exponentially better than anything else on my channel. It was like the doink. It was like, oh, okay. And this was back when I was still like in my little, I called it the Fortress of Tingletude. It's just a closet. It's a 3-foot wide closet that I had foamed out. So my audio in there in the fortress was magnificent, but very tight, very confined. So I did my first role plays there. And then what put me on the map though, GB, bless her sweet, sweet, amazing heart. So for those of you who don't know GB, which is anyway, she's probably the number one content creator of ASMR, 4.7 million, 4.8 million subscribers on YouTube. And she's such, again, the community of ASMR blew me away. It's so supportive. Everybody's so nice. It was just weird. Like everybody's so nice. And because you hear like YouTube's a dumpster fire, and Twitter's a dumpster fire. ASMR Twitter was kind and supportive, and ASMR YouTube comments are just supportive and warm, and people are spilling their hearts, and like it's just it is such a different world than the typical like YouTube Twitter world. Snarky and like gross comments everywhere. My experience was like the opposite of this, and I'm going like, whoa, this is really cool. So back to GB. So she has this video, and it's going to be like 100 new ASM artists, and we had to submit a 1-minute video doing whatever we wanted. And if it was selected, it would be in her. It's called speed dating. So, and it was like 2 hours long. So I'm in ASMR, GB's speed dating ASMR video, me and like 20 other people or 50 other people. It was a lot of other people. And it was like I said, like 2 hours long. I was at like the hour and 15-minute mark. I honestly forget. So I wasn't like in the beginning. But that night I get a text or a DM from Atlas ASMR. And we started like right at the same time. And he's like, boyo, you're blowing up. Check it out. And I was just like, grab my phone, like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I go to my channel, I'd gained like 500 subscribers, which at the time was like, I mean, I was like at 300. And so I like doubled my subs in overnight almost, and man, I mean, I just owe a huge debt of gratitude for GB because she put me on the map. She got me going, the video I submitted was like a very short doctor role play. And it was just very quick, a couple triggers, do this, hold still, hold that, look at me right here. Good. And focus on me. Look this, good. Very quick, very simple. and people really responded to it. But anyway, so that led me into the world of role plays. And then as I started realizing that there's no real rules, that's when I started, like, at the time I was like really good buddies with Atlas, and still am. Love Atlas. Atlas, Tippy Tappy, Sebastian, Seb. What was his ASMR? What was Sebastian's? He's German. Anyway, Seb. And like I got to know these dudes, and they're like my buddies, like we all kind of started together. And then Atlas goes, "Boys, I have an idea for a collaboration. It's gonna be called The Gentleman. It's gonna be like a la, Guy Ritchie style." And he had found out that I am in possession of a roulette table. And it's like, well, who the heck owns a roulette table? This guy did. It's from my grandparents. Like they got it. They bought it in Italy. Okay. It's probably like the single nicest thing that I own is this gaming table from my grandparents. And I mean, you've all seen it in my videos. It's just, it's beautiful. It opens up. There's roulette, and I use it to play cards and stuff. So Atlas is like, well, bro, we need to have this roulette wheel. Like, we're going to do this gambling heist thing, and you're going to have your roulette wheel, and you're going to be, what's my name? Not Mickey, Vinny.
It was Teddy.
Teddy Quid. No, I kind of blanking on my own
Yes.
character. So Teddy Quid. When we come up with this character, I totally based him off of Jason Statham. He was like I just want to do the most perfect Statham rip-off. I thought, if I'm doing Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, that's the guy. He's the guy I want to sound like. So I did that, and that did quite well. I got kind of, put Atlas on the map, and he went on to take off. He's at 200 and something 50,000 subscribers at this point. Like he really blew up, as he deservedly so. I mean, the work he put into those was amazing. So we did the Gentleman 2, and a couple other collabs, and but that got me into like going like the gambling or whatever. And the categories of role play that took off that were really weird. I just had no. It was blackjack. I mean, I had no idea that I thought roulette would be way more popular with ASMR. It was the blackjack. And when I'm watching my own videos back during editing, especially not when I'm editing so much, but if I just I'll click on a video sometimes and just see how it looks on YouTube, it is oddly mesmerizing. It's like the cards, you're counting 6 + 7 is 13, 8 + 6 is 14. And you're kind of paying, and I'm speaking this nice low voice, it's really satisfying. It's a really oddly satisfying kind of ASMR. And I mean, maybe that had been done before, sort of, but I kind of started that kind of took off on my channel, and I was like, okay, weird, cool, not mad at it. And the other one was the Dad Tucks You In role plays. Those began not as a joke, but like those videos where the parent is talking to their future children, and maybe it's because they passed or something, but it's that video where the parent is talking, and it's like saying how proud they are of their children, and very touching, very beautiful videos. And I thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if I did a video where I'm talking to my, non-existent child, I'm childless at the moment, where I'm explaining like what I do, and like, what does Daddy do? And because at the time I was kind of getting a little thirst trappy in some spots. I had done some dominant things, and that had led to doing dominant ASMR, of course. I mean, my dominant ASMR is not sexual. However, there's also a part of it that can't not be a little bit. Like there's that underlying kind of like tension. And so anyway, I was getting thirstier comments. And I thought, would it be funny? Like, why do I describe to my kid, like, what I do? And like, why, Daddy, why do you have people like commenting? Like, don't read Daddy's comments. Don't read Daddy's comments. Don't read the comments, honey. Just don't worry about that. Explaining like, what does Daddy do? And that had a really big reaction. People were just like, oh my God, I've never had a positive male in my life. This is the first time I've had like, I didn't even know that men like you kind of existed. Like it was just like, whoa, the outpouring and the things people would write, these like personal stories of like loss and like abuse and how, you know, my dad videos have just been this incredibly soothing, comforting thing to go back to. And I was like, wow, like I just never thought that would be the thing. You know what I mean? It just, and yeah, I just didn't. Now I've gone on to do all kinds of, you know, topics, and we had like the sex talk, and we've had, uh, uh you know, I don't know, just dad advice stuff. Always sweet and always, you know, a reminder of how much I love you and your mommy and me love you, and there's nothing you can ever do that would make us not love you, and just that comforting kindness. So that was a neat, you know, surprise. And then the therapy one. I forget what had the idea for therapy. And I was like, I wonder if I could do therapy. The problem was, of course, is it like, you know, you can't talk. And any good therapist, they really shouldn't be talking that much. This is the strange irony of my therapy videos. A good therapist just sits there and listens, you know, and they're going, okay, well, what about that? Okay, well, again, I see a lot. Okay, you're resisting that there. Why are you resisting that? What's going on? What are you avoiding right there? That's what a therapist does. And so I have to do this like in like, you know, pretend land, right? But I found it to be kind of surprisingly easy to go, okay, well, what if I'm just talking and I'm just giving advice, basically, you know? Could that be, would that be valuable? Would people enjoy that? Well, turns out they really did. That became like a big category. And I actually I got offered, I haven't done it yet. I got offered a sponsorship deal with BetterHelp. They're the company. Sorry, it's warm in here, and I don't have my AC on, so it's not too loud. Um, you know, they do like 29 bucks a month or something like that, and you can call and have an actual licensed professional on call. So it's very cool that they reached out to me. I haven't done their ad yet because I want to make it super organic. I can't stand like when the video stops and it's like, and here's a word from our sponsor. You know, I just, ugh. And I think that that's very poo-pooed in the ASMR world. Like you can, everybody knows that content creators do sponsored videos. It's how you make your money, you know. But on the other hand, you got to do it cool. It's got to like blend. So anyway, but that was, you know, the fact that a company like BetterHelp found me and wants to start, you know, an advertising relationship is really cool through my therapy stuff. And I was like, wow, what a huh. And I do want to also put this caveat in case anybody's wondering. I am not a licensed therapist. Okay, people, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a licensed therapist. I am making entertainment. Now, I am a very enthusiastic amateur psychologist. Like I love psychology. I love the study of psychology. I love the study of humans and emotions and interactions and predictive behavior. I find behaviorism fascinating. And like, why do I do what I do? Why am I triggered by this? And I've gone, you know, I've done years of deep work analyzing who is Jeremiah? Who are you? Who are you? What is your meaning in life? And that work though has led to it makes me you I have a lot other than an actual therapist. I have a lot of like coaching background in my life, so I think that makes me effective when I'm doing those. And I will drop like wisdom nuggets and throughout the little videos as I'm doing them and stuff that hopefully people can take. I just don't want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm not an actual licensed therapist. And, you know, don't, because some people ask in the comments, same on like the doctor videos, like, are you a real doctor? It's like, no, I'm not. Don't. I'm an actor, darling. It's a character. Oh, and then Helmut came. I forget how Helmut was a suggestion from one of my Patreons, Rye. Yeah, I had done a character, and I had done a haircut character, and he was like, "Dude, make it more." I want him like more flamboyant, like just more like over the top. And I was like, "Well, I don't want to do this like some typical. Like, I didn't want to do like a stereotypical like like flamboyant hairdresser. Like oh my gosh, this is like the best. Like I didn't want to do that. I was like, what's a weird accent that's just kind of like strangely ambiguous? German. So German accent's a weird accent because there's an effeminateness to it. And here's how I figured this out. Here's why I realized why the German accent's very strange. Schindler's List. So I was watching Schindler's List like 10 years ago, and it just stuck out in my mind. When you first meet the Alpha Nazis, that terrible character played by Ray Fiennes, the first thing he says is, "Yeah, why is this top down? I'm freezing." But you could hear the way I said that. Like, why is this top down? It's freezing. There's like a certain like what? It's like there's a little color in there. Like, what is that? And I was like, man, the German accent is like the perfect accent to just kind of be like ambiguously expressionful, It's like you can be like a little sprocket, You can be like Helmut and Mike Myers and the Saturday Night Live, but you can just do whatever you want because there's no real rules, and you can't really tell with a German accent which way you're going. It's very like this ambiguous. Don't know the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllables. You know how it goes. So it was just like it just became this fun character of Helmut. But now, it's funny. I've done a lot of Helmut, and not that I'm over Helmut, but like I want to do other things. I want to do other characters now. I don't know. Helmut will come back, but yeah. You can't tell. I'm very verbose. I'm very chatty. You ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. Because I think the question was originally like, how'd you start in ASMR? And now we're here. So that's quite the journey there, Marta.
It absolutely is. Well, I love everything you were talking about, how you've talked about different characters, and you've mentioned how commenters sometimes will confuse this role play with real life.
Yes.
And I think we want to tell the listeners a word of advice is that when there is an ASM artist that is really a doctor or really something else, they will say real ASMR. They will not say role play, or they say real ASMR role play. I know there is an American gentleman that is an actual doctor that does ASMR. Adam, like, I think is his name.
Yeah, but his thing is like real doctor, not see what ASM artists we put is realistic cranial nerve, realistic. It's not the same as real, my friends. It's realistic, is not real. So yes, if you want an actual doctor, there are actual doctors out there.
Yes.
I don't know how good they are at ASMR, but they're actual doctors. So if that's your cup of tea, then go watch that.
Absolutely. And I think everything has a place, but I think, for example, with the doctor role plays, and you tell me, you've done so many of them, but with the doctor role plays, there is an element of it's almost like the perfect storm, right? It's almost the ideal type of care that we would like to get at the doctor. That
right.
90
it's not real. No doctor. I mean, I don't know the last time y'all went to a doctor. Like it they don't sit there and go, hey, okay, it's gonna be fine. No, you're in a clinic, a sterile room. You're sitting on crinkly paper, and the doc comes up and he says, "Hey, they're friendly. My doc's friendly, But it's like you're in and out in like 8-10 minutes. Like they got patients, man. Like they're busy. Like they're not going to spend 30 minutes chilling in a room with a patient, getting them to calm down. Like that's just no. That's fantasy, my friends. That's called role play. It's not real, So yeah, it's. And I remember the last time I went to my doctor, like 6 months ago, get my checkup. And I was like, okay, really note Jeremiah, like, what's this experience like for you? And I went in there and I sat in the waiting room and then quickly got shuffled back, then meet up with the nurse and you walk back past the doors and they weigh you and it's just, you sit, then you go and you sit down and you wait for 5-10 minutes and your doctor knocks on the door and comes in and says, hey, what are you doing? How's this? How's that? Cool. What do you work? And does a few things. Well, and then on, it's just, there's none of this, kind, like gentle sound of like note taking, pencil sound. It's not real, So anyway, it's just funny. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it really cool, and that's why people look for ASMR. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that, but something you said, I really wanna kind of hone into. You mentioned that BetterHelp has offered you a sponsorship, and I have to tell you, YouTube puts their ad in front of your therapy videos all the time. Like the algorithm will. Yes, they do.
I didn't know that. That's so those cheeky little, they're getting their little, they know who I am. Okay.
They do that, and they do migraine medication in front of the migraine relief ones.
That's so funny because I have YouTube Premium, so I never see ads. I never see. Oh, that's not true. I could see ads on when I do. There is a way of logging into YouTube, not under my personal one. So never mind. Every now and then I do see ads, but I'm never watching my own content on that channel. So I never see the ads. I never see the bumper ads in front of my own content. Interesting. Well, good. No, good to thank you for telling me about. So I'm glad that BetterHelp is actually, that they choose to do that. I mean, that's cool that they like my content, and I think they're a cool company. So yeah, what's kind of they reached out to me like 2 months ago. The problem was I was that was right at the end of the school year. I had like chess going on and I was busy, and then they do want, though, like a very specific, like they have like they're very corporate and they're a big company, so they have to be very corporate, and you have to say this and you have to say this and you have to say this, and they kind of want you like cut in like their thing, like betterment, blah 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 blah. Like, and what I want to do is I want to be having a therapy session and just being like, okay, and thank you so much, and I just want to let you know that if for whatever reason, if you need to get a hold of an actual licensed professional and I'm not available, please reach out to our friends at BetterHelp, 1-800 blah 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 blah, and do it like that, where it's just a seamless chill, like I'm plugging them, but it's just chill. It just goes and blends in with the session. So what I almost feel like I'm gonna have to do is film that and then send them like a 1-minute video of that and say, can I do this? Is this, I know it's not quite what you want me to do, but does this work for you? And see what they say. So anyway, I've just been procrastinating on that. I don't know. It's doing other things, how life is. You're just like, actually, I don't feel like filming a therapy video today. I don't have any inspiration for therapy. So instead I'm gonna film a blackjack or a Helmut or a, whatever, or bro, or like something totally different, So yeah, creativity is a weird muse. That's definitely something that it's so funny, when I think all content creators go through this phase when you first start your channel and you're like just super pumped and you have all these ideas and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put out like 5 videos a week, man. And you can for a little bit. You will have that burst of energy, of creative energy at first, And Megan was very quickly like, dude, don't set a pace that you can keep. And at first I was like, okay, well, 1 a week? No, I can do more than 1 a week. So, within like 3 months or something, I had settled on 2 videos per week. And I drop on Tuesday and Friday. And I was like, okay. And those days are arbitrary. I don't know. Maybe I should change my drop dates. I don't know. Some people say that you should drop on Sunday. I don't know, whatever. I don't know if it matters. Anyway, I've been doing 2 videos per week then for 3 years. And I'm really glad I only committed to 2 because you get you just get some weeks and you're going like, I got nothing, man. Like, I don't want to do another doctor video. I just like, do I phone it in, and what do I do? And it's weird how, and then other days you're just like, I got 4 ideas, boom, boom, boom. And you're just like, you're ready to rock. And you put the camera on, twink, and smooth. You're like, yep, bang it out. And other days I'll just sitting there, staring into the void, like, what the heck am I going to film today? What am I going to make? What do I want to do? What would be interesting to people? So yeah, it's the life of a
Yeah.
content creator. It's like it's cool. And I'm not complaining. I love it. I love being a creative. It's just it's not as easy as you might think. Yeah, that's all.
I think it's very wise of you to have committed to only 2 a week, because you can definitely overdo it. And I mean, it's not just the filming. You have to edit, you have to
Yep.
come up with the ideas. And
Filming,
that,
costuming, hair.
mhm,
You got to be
absolutely.
camera. You got to be camera ready. Like
Yeah.
like being camera ready. Like I have like I have a routine, my friends. Like I go through, you know, I get up around 8 and I go exercise. I do chores. I get outside immediately in the sun. First thing when I get up, get my coffee, get that morning UV, wake me up, perk me up, go get a good sweat on. I always like I break a sweat most days. Go get a good workout in, and then or even just a walk. It's not always like a workout. Sometimes it's just a walk. And then come back, clean up, shower, and then I'm ready to be on camera. But like that's like a process, man. Like it's you don't I don't know. I don't wake up like camera ready at all. Like if you I should probably do some video where you like just for the Patreons where it's like just me actually waking up as Jeremiah and you'd be like, oh my God, huh? That's what you look like when you wake up? Yeah, don't worry about it, bro. So just I don't need your judgment. Just this is what I look like in the morning. Don't make it weird. God. So anyway, but yeah, I do not look this. I do not have this when I wake up in the morning. I will tell you that. This is yeah. It's the process. Beauty is the process. Okay. That's all I'm saying is that beauty is a process.
Absolutely.
The ladies out
Absolutely.
there will know more than the boys. True. You ladies know. You understand. You understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a super long process, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am thinking that for a lot of our listeners, this is probably the very first time they're hearing about ASMR.
Oh wow.
And
Hmm.
we've done a previous episode where we talked about it, but tell them in your own words, what does a role play video look like, sound like? What makes it ASMR as opposed to two people getting on YouTube just role playing, I don't know, husband and wife or whatever.
Sure, whatever. That's a great question. And I don't think there's a really clear answer.
Mhm.
So from what I've learned in the 3.5 years of being an ASMR artist on YouTube, is that it's a huge umbrella of a category. It's huge. You know, like I said, I thought like trigger videos, like Zeitgeist or many other people do trigger videos, Marno, um, where, it's really microphone centric, where it's like, it's really about like these like sound, sound. It's like, but for me, that gets a little boring. So the question is, what makes an ASMR role play ASMR? I don't know. I don't know. What I understand as ASMR, it is a kind of a blanket category for something that relaxes you. Hence, an interrogation video where I'm like faking torturing you. Is that relaxing? I don't know, but some people really enjoy it. They enjoy that more intense side of ASMR. Is is me having a chat as a dad on a bed like this Is this ASMR? I don't know. People find it really relaxing and really soothing and really comforting. So traditional ASMR is certainly about like the tingles. So what is ASMR? What is role playing? What makes a role play ASMR? For me, it's it the focus for me, I think, always has to be audio forward. So that it very important. One thing with ASMR is that it's audio forward. It can be visual. We can use light triggers. We can do things, follow my hand, look at this, but it's fundamentally audio forward. So, my mics are always close to me, which, you wouldn't have normally in like in a dialogue scene. Maybe you have like somebody with a boom mic out here, but you don't, having a close, hot mic does create, there's something about it, man. There's something about a close, hot mic. And whispering or soft spoken, I prefer soft spoken by a country mile. But it gives me more creativity because I can say a lot of words soft spoken in a role play and it makes sense. Why wouldn't you be talking in a calm and soothing voice to me? Why not? Whereas, if I was just not doing ASMR, I don't know. It's a weird one. It's like, I guess the biggest differential between my standard role play and what makes it an ASMR role play is my attention to the audio and that it is audio forward. That when I'm putting on, like rubber gloves, it's like that. I should have some right here actually. It's like that you hear this sound. It's like, you want to hear that. And like, a real doctor wouldn't necessarily sit there and like do this, but it sounds cool. The neat sound. So you'll stop and go, yeah, maybe I'm listening to your ears in order, and you go, oh, okay. You're just trying to come up with like interesting sounding moments. And another big trigger that I found that's so funny is my beard. I remember I think it was one of my dad videos. I was just sitting there and I went, I did that. And I didn't really think of anything of it until I was listening to it in my headphones in the editing. And I was like, oh, that's a really distinct sound. It was way louder than I thought it was going to be. And I was like, that sounds cool, man. Anyway, so it sounds like you're just kind of coming up with ways of putting the audio forward, mostly relaxing. Like I said, is an interrogation relaxing? I don't know. To some people, I guess, or is this interesting? But I don't think everybody watches ASMR necessarily just to fall asleep either. Like I think that's kind of where it originated from. And we used to, you don't see this comment as often anymore. 3 years ago, you saw this comment, barely made it, barely kept my eyes open, it fell asleep. That was a really common comment like 2 or 3 years ago, because that was the compliment you wanted to give to your ASMR artist was, hey, your video put me to sleep. And that was like, cool. Weird, but cool in our world. Like, thank you. My video put you to sleep? Yes. Yeah. It's like, wait, what? You want that? That's my goal. But then, I think a lot more people are consuming ASMR during the day. I think a lot more people are consuming ASMR. Yeah, like most of my prime time when I look at my YouTube analytics. Now this could be because but no, most of my viewers are in the United States. My second place is UK, so they're going to be like 8 hours ahead of me, right? So if it's noon, it's 8 p.m. to my friends over in the UK. Most of my videos drop at 1, so it's like 9 p.m. in the UK. But I get the vast majority of my YouTube watch hours between noon and 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's like, wait, that is not sleep time. Like most people are watching my content in the middle of the afternoon. And I was just like, well, that's interesting. Huh. Which means they're watching the whole thing and they're they're probably not just listening. They actually are like watching and like participating in the role play, which I find, which is cool. I don't know. It's just not what I thought. You know, again, let me just say to all content creators out there, if you want to be a content creator, just start creating, because you don't know, you cannot know where your channel's going to go. What you think you're going to do with it is not going to be what you're going to do with it. You're going to get these weird, you know, black swan or white swan or whatever ideas or things that kind of come to you, and you'll do them, and that'll be the thing. Then it's nothing like what you thought would be the thing. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, what do you like throwing spaghetti up the wall, and every now and then a noodle sticks, and you're like, oh, that one's cool. All right, found a sticky noodle.
Do you feel that the audience kind of helps your creativity flow along? Or do you feel instead that you sort of get a flow for what bubbles up? What bubbles up for you as far as the next character you want to do? Or you kind of look at the algorithm, the analytics, and go, oh, this is working really well. Let's do more of that.
It's really both. You know, the one like the thing that shocked me is recently is the blackjack phenomenon. Again, I just would never have guessed that that would be a thing. And when I look at my analytics, 5 out of 7 of my top most viewed videos, blackjack. And it's just like the universe being like, Jeremiah, the people want blackjack videos. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But then, you know, but I'll notice other content creators too. So I get ideas from my audience. I have a Discord page that is for people to suggest video ideas. I may or may not do them, but you may put them there on my Discord. Anybody, it's free. Anybody can just like, hey, you know, I would love this concept, and I do a lot of them. A lot of those things I've done, like a lot of the what I'm trying to like the audience suggestions. Most recently, Agent Smith. That was from a Patreon suggestion. Dad, there was like a Dr. Dad. That was a Patreon suggestion. The video where it's like dad is cleaning the house and he kind of comes in, that was a Patreon suggestion. Massage, doing a massage was a fan suggestion. And I was like, okay, I guess I can try those. And they went really well. Other thing I'll do is I'll get inspiration from my friends. I don't, you know, whenever Atlas puts out a video, or Matt, Articulate Design, or Cat Bailey, he's another buddy of mine. Like whenever they post, I'm always going like, ASMR Ryan, like what are they doing? What are they up to? You know, like where's the zeitgeist heading right now? You know, where's like which direction? Like one thing that's really falling off, I think, it feels like doctor videos are really kind of, we still make them and I will still do them at some point, but I feel like 3 years ago, that's all anybody wanted. Just cranial nerve exam, just make CNE. And that's, you know, that was the CNE was my first 100,000 viewed video. It was my first 200,000 viewed video was a cranial nerve exam. But I feel like right now, like that trend is kind of moving along. And it's being replaced with just a lot of creativity, man. Like, you know, you look at like what GB's up to, and you go look at what, you know, Cat Bailey is up to, and you know, it's like it's all over. The Fred's voice is another one. I love Fred's voice. You know, I had a chance to collaborate with him in The Gentleman 2, and that's what Gentleman 2 is so cool, because I got to collaborate with two of like the dudes I was like, what? Which was Zeitgeist and Fred's voice. And I was like, dude, I got to collaborate with like Zeitgeist and Fred's voice. They're both really cool, nicest guys. So cool. But you know, one thing I noticed about Fred is he kind of owns barbershop. They're all called Fast Raw Barbershop. Okay. He owns that. That's his. Like, I remember I tried to copy him like 2 years ago, and I'd like Fast Raw Barbershop, like total Fred's voice ripoff, like verbatim. I did okay. I was like, no, Jeremiah, that's that's Fred. That's not, you're not that. You're not Fred. It's like, right. You come up with your own voice, Jeremiah. So Fred does that, but so he cranks those out, and I'm sure they're formulaic to him. Of course they're kind of formulaic, but his audience loves him, and he's really good at making them, and he crushes at making them. And so for me, what I've found, like my equivalent, is blackjack. My audience loves it. Nobody else is really doing it. And at this point, if anybody else kind of comes along and be like, oh, I like that Jeremiah guy trying to do blackjack ASMR. Yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. Just like ASMR Jeremiah. So like, anyway, so that's kind of cool. That I've kind of created a few of my. I'm very proud of the fact that I have a few very, very unique my voice things. Dad, therapist, blackjack. Helmut is just like Helmut is Helmut. He's everything, everything and nothing all at once. And they're like mine. Like everybody does haircuts. Everybody does doctor role plays. Everybody, you know what I mean? But I have some things that are like, they're mine. Nobody else really does them. And it's like, but that took me a long time to find, man. Like I didn't, literally years. It took me literally years to find those voices that are mine, that are unique. Which is why, again, going back to anybody out there who wants to be a content creator, you just gotta throw spaghetti at the wall. If you try too hard at one thing, and I learned this lesson. I remember it's happened twice with another ASM artist. It happened to me and I survived it, but it's tough. So in the beginning of my career, my first collab was called ASMR Blind Date. And it was me, and it was Atlas, and it was Jody Marie, ASMR Jody Marie, and Bluesberry, Vonda, and we had Tati, perfect ASMR. So it's like I got these like beautiful humans, everybody's gorgeous, and we're gonna do like blind date. It's gonna be really funny. I'm the host. Atlas is like the John. It's gonna be awesome. And I put in all this work, and I do all the editing, and I get all the clips, and I put it together. Total dud. Got hardly any views on my channel, and to this day, it's got like 3,000 views. Okay, the amount of work I put into that to get 3,000 views versus what I got out of it was just like depressing. Like I had this real like punch in the gut. Like, man, like I don't know, like. And then I was working with another ASM artist. We did a collab together, and she did the same thing. It was like a year later. She put in all this work, and it was star-studded, man. It was me and Atlas, and who were there? Some bigger names, like I'm still like a small name. Like, anyway, big names, and it kind of tanked, and that was the end for her. Like she kind of bailed out. Like about a month later, she kind of stopped making content. And she's doing other things now. She's, but like so my point is like if you put all this energy into this one idea that you have and you love the idea, and she loved her idea. I loved I was so excited about blind date. I was like, this is going to be funny and it's going to be awesome. Everybody's going to love it and it's going to blow up and it's going to put me on the map. And that was a very important lesson to just go like, right. The amount of effort you put into the thing does not necessarily make the thing do the thing you want it to do. And I had a really good talk on the phone with Atlas about that too. He'd put so much work into making this one like video game ASMR where he's like Mortal Kombat. And it's like this 2-dimensional thing and like, fight. Editing that, he said, took him forever. Views, yeah. He does Man on a Train. He's sitting there, he gets the newspaper, and he just does. He said, dude, I did that in like 1/10 of the time. Like it was so much easier. And that was my first 1 million viewed video. Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows, So again, creativity and art, you just don't know what's going to connect to the zeitgeist. It's a good word. You know, it was like to connect to that thing that, like, why did that stick? You know, why did people enjoy that? I don't know. But they did, and they're responding. So when I'm making content, I do think about that. And so I do, you know, especially now, like literally in the last 3 months, or it's called 2 weeks, I realized, like, you know what? I kind of own blackjack. Like, and I like making them. They're fun. I literally have a good time making them. I don't know if I'll put out one a week, but like at least every other week. And it's like, and it kind of takes a weight off my shoulders, because it's like, well, they're not that. I just got to come up with a time, you know. Or I can always do like luxury. You can always do luxury high end, right? This new one I'm working on right now. Actually, the set is set up behind me. You can't see it, but it's a pain. I love old Western crap. I love old Western stuff, and I love trains. And so I set up my train setup again with using. I have you know, what do you call those? Crate, not a crate, pallet. So I have a pallet. And my wife and I've done a ton of projects. We have a lot of wood laying around the house, like project wood. So I stack that all up and make it look like a train. I put a big tree stump, like a half of a tree stump to sit on. And I made this thing, you know. But it's like, once that's done, filming is easy. I just sit there, turn the camera on, and, you know, play cards. It's like, but once, yeah, which is why I actually need to do. I'm gonna do a so funny. So this video, it's gonna be blackjack on a westbound train. So that video is gonna come out next Tuesday, and then I'm gonna film basically that same thing, because in the video I say, maybe we'll come back and play a little bit more later. I'm gonna refilm this part 2 of that, so I can double up on the set, and I'll drop that in like a month or 2. You know what I mean? I'll let that one sit there. That way I can take advantage of the set that I built, because it's a pain. Like, that's the hard, like the prep is the work, you know, for me. Like, once I turn the camera on, it's pretty gravy, man. Like, I'm usually pretty dialed into what I want to do. And like, I don't have a problem talking, as you can clearly see, clearly hear. And yeah, so like once the camera's going, I'm like, I'm set. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
not sure where I was going with that.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. There is a lot that we talked about in there, of course, with creativity and how it flows, and how, as you're putting content out there, you really don't quite know. I mean, of course, the YouTube analytics helps, but you don't quite know what's going to resonate with people, and you can't put all your eggs in a basket.
You
That's
can't.
that's a big lesson. Yeah,
And it's
that's a
also
big
true.
lesson.
It's like, you know, if you try to recreate a video, it doesn't really work. You know, I mean, rarely, you know, like I get so funny. My most viewed video, I still think, is like from a year and a half ago. It was a cranial, like, it's just titled "Realistic Cranial Nerve Exam," and I'm just, you know, me wearing a lab coat, doing this with my fingers in the thumbnail, nothing, just, you know, 200 some thousand views. And I remember when that was like happening, I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna blow up, you know. And then like I did another one, like a week and a half later, you know, very realistic, and when the views. I mean, it was just like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know. That I thought I had a formula, but apparently I don't. So yeah.
The mysteries of the YouTube, I know.
It's weird. It's weird. Who knows?
Totally. I was gonna say, I wanted to mention to our listeners, because I know after today's episode they're all gonna go and subscribe, and I've been
Only
really
if you want to, my friends. And I mean that. I really mean that. Don't subscribe to my channel if you don't actually, and I don't need you to like me. I really don't. That's the beauty of the internet. There's a lot of us out there, man. But if you would like to subscribe to my channel, if you would like to enjoy my content, please then do subscribe. The one that's annoying is the that, at least I think this is true for most content creators. 50% of your audience is not subscribed,
Yes, you're right, because I
which is
always hear, yep.
annoying. You're like, just I know you're already watching my thing. Just hit subscribe. It's like, it's free, and it really helps boost me in the algo. Just hit that little subscribe. If you're already watching, it's a click. It's a button click.
Mhm. Is that liking and subscribing? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to say, I've been recommending your I would say your channel, absolutely, but specific videos to my friends, but very select friends. Because what happened at the beginning when I started watching your content and I got into ASMR earlier this summer, a lot of people get this really funky look in their face when you
Yep.
say you like ASMR.
Well,
And they look at you
yeah.
like, is that a bit kinky? And you're like,
Yes.
no, I'm sure there's a ton of kinky content on YouTube, but this is not it.
Yes, ASMR, there really does need to be a kind of a bifurcation in, and again, I am not against sexual ASMR. I think I'm pro sexuality. I think, yay, do you? But that is so different than like what I'm doing. And like, most male ASMR artists are pretty, we don't push like the ear licking, and like that's not what the male ASMR artists do, from my knowledge. I don't know if it would even work. I don't want to do it. That's not the content that I consume anyway. So, but it's it might as well be like a separate kind of genre, you know. There, yeah, and it is unfortunate how ASMR just gonna get lumped into like, oh, it is like some hot chick like licking a microphone, like, oh, like is that doing it for you? And again, I'm not, if that content, if you enjoy that, rock it, enjoy it, but it is very different than what I make, what my friends make, you know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel you. So yeah, the ASMR has certainly gotten a name for being really overly sexualized.
Mhm.
Um, and I make a conscious effort. I remember like when I started doing the dominant stuff, and I really enjoy dominant role play. And the thing about what I mean by that is, there's even that term is really like, what does that mean? You're into dominant role play? Are you ball gagging them or something? No, 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 no. All dominance is, real dominance, is you're just allowing your participating partner to relax. You're just taking over the control of the wheel. You're like, hey, I got this right now. What I'm going to do, I know that what I'm about to do, you are going to really, really enjoy. What I want you to do is to let go, give me the reins, and you can just relax. And that's dominant. It's not sexual, it's dominant. But when I started doing that, the daddy comments started coming in. And the one was hilarious. Oh my god, I forget who it was. He wrote down under one of my dominant videos, "Calm me, Poppy." I don't know why "Calm me, Poppy." It just I laughed out loud so hard. "Calm me, Poppy," and I was just like, well, that's at least funny. But this is why I'm also really grateful for my mods. When you're like on Twitch, so I have very protective moderators in my ASMR world. And when people come onto my Twitch and they'd be like, "Daddy, Daddy," they're like, "Let me tell you something. He don't like being called daddy, okay? No me estés hablando así, cabrón. Not listening. He don't like. He's not your daddy, okay? He's not your daddy. Stop talking like that, okay? Okay, good. You good?" It's like they just come in and like, "No." Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, people can definitely make it weird. I have actually, I have watched a lot of your content. By no means I have made it through the 370 videos.
It's a lot.
And I don't know if anybody has, probably somebody has.
Maybe
But
Rye.
yeah,
He's
maybe right.
probably because he's like an OG. Like he's been with me. He's been a ride or die for a minute. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe Rye's seen every single one.
Every single one. We'll have to ask. But what I really recommend to my friends, and I want to mention to the listeners today, is just go into Jeremiah's channel and look at the different characters he has, okay?
Mm.
And then see what speaks to you. Um, I have enjoyed medical role plays. I have enjoyed the therapy role plays. And before I got to the dad videos, I saw the daddy doctor once, and I was like, huh. I was curious, but I was like, huh.
Hmm,
But then when I
where's
watched
he
them, I was
going
like,
with this?
oh, these are amazing. Which I have to say, you also have the pediatrician role plays,
Mhm.
which are awesome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very
then
much.
absolutely awesome. And I was like, oh my goodness, this would be the most amazing, again, fantasy pediatrician. But then you get into the dad ones and you're like, this is absolute gold. But then
Wow.
that this is my opinion, right? Everybody has to sort of get in there. And like you said, some people are like, torture is amazing, you know?
I do some weird, dark stuff, man.
Yeah. And some people are like, "Ah, I like the medical ones. I like the therapy ones." The daddy ones have a quality to them. I really want to encourage people to look at those.
Thank you.
The daddy ones have a quality to them that you are talking about some deep, serious issues. You have done one about foster children that I know all the comments were like,
That was a heavy one.
yeah, yeah.
I get
And
choked up in the comments, man. Like, I got choked up in that video when I was filming it. I was just like, "Woof," like, whoa, this guy, because it's such a heavy topic, you know. But thank you, Marta. That really touches me. I go, oh, Misty, thank you.
yeah, absolutely. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, the interview with ASMR Jeremiah. It was really amazing to listen to the story of how he became an ASMR artist and what are the things that matter the most to him. To be honest, the conversation was so amazing and so enriching that we decided 1 hour wasn't enough. So we are bringing him again for part 2 next week. So please come back for next week's episode and enjoy the rest of that beautiful interview with ASMR Jeremiah. I hope to see you there. Bye for now. Hey, you have listened to the Wise Doula Podcast today. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, everything we discussed today was meant for entertainment and educational purposes only. It does not substitute the advice of your medical provider. Would you do us a favor? Follow me on Instagram at LovingBellyDoula. Also, let me know what other topics you would like to see me discuss in this podcast. And please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platforms. Thank you so much. I will see you next week.